(2018-108), State of Arkansas versus Belinda Drexler. Ms. Drexler, you're appearing at this time for the purpose of entering a change of plea on the charges against you, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And this change of plea is brought about by an agreement that's been worked out for you by Mr. Cooper, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Have you discussed the terms of the agreement and the punishment you're to receive with Mr. Cooper?
Yes, I have.
And if you feel you understand what the agreement is?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with the advice and the representation Mr. Cooper's provided you?
Yes, sir.
On the charges as they're being amended by the agreement of delivery of a controlled substance, Class C felony, 3 counts, and unlawful use of a communication device, Class C felony, 3 counts. On those charges, how do you now plead?
Guilty.
You're in this plea of guilty pursuant to this agreement. The agreement is in writing in the document I'm holding up called a plea statement.
Yes,
Have
sir.
you read through and signed this plea statement I'm holding up?
Yes, sir, I have.
And you, in reading through it before signing it, do you feel you understand what's set out in it?
Yes, sir.
You then understand the nature of the charges against you and the full range of penalties you're facing?
Yes, sir, I do.
You understand that when you plead guilty, you give up certain constitutional rights you have?
Yes, sir.
The most important right you're giving up is the right to a trial by jury, but with that you also give up the right to have an attorney represent you throughout the trial process and assist you. You're giving up the right to confront the witnesses who would appear and testify at trial against you, and you're giving up the right to appeal. Do you understand these rights that you're giving up?
Yes, sir, I do.
And understanding what rights you're giving up, are you still willing to plead guilty?
Yes, sir.
Are you pleading guilty here today freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody in any form or fashion forced you into this plea?
No, sir.
As you plead guilty here today, are you admitting your participation in the criminal activity charge?
Yes, sir, I am.
Are you admitting that on or about October 5th, 2017, October 6th, 2017, and October 18th of 2017 here in Baxter County, Arkansas, that you participated in the sale or delivery of a quantity of methamphetamine on each of those occasions?
Yes, sir.
And are you also admitting that you used a cell phone, a communication device to set up those arrangements?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You need to say, I understood what you said, but the court reporter has to hear your answer to get it down.
Okay. Yes,
Please.
sir.
All right. So that was a yes on that as well.
Yes.
All right. Based on those statements, the court's going to find the defendant has freely and voluntarily entered a plea of guilty, done so after consulting with an attorney, and has admitted to her participation in the crimes involved on that basis. The court now accepts her plea of guilty and finds her guilty of delivery of a controlled substance, methamphetamine, Class C felony, 3 counts, and unlawful use of a communication device, Class C felony, 3 counts. The court is granting the state's motion to null pros the distribution near certain facilities charge in all 3 cases, and that that's how the charges are disposed of. At this point, the defendant is ordered to pay court costs of $200, a fine of $2,000, the statutory DNA fine of $250, a book administration fee of $20, public defender fee of fees of $200, a drug crime assessment $125, and is ordered to pay $235 in restitution for the money received from these transactions. All of those amounts, the court is sentencing the defendant on the felony counts to a sentence of 10 years in the Arkansas Department of Corrections on all 6 of the felony counts, with those sentences suspended and the defendant will be placed on supervised probation subject to the standard terms and conditions of probation of this court. Those sentences will run concurrent with each other, and the defendant will be obligated to comply with all the terms and conditions. The financial obligations I set out previously will be due and payable as a term and condition of the probation. Payments are to be made as a term and condition of the payments with the order will require her to make payments each month of at least $100 per month, beginning within 60 days of her release here today, and continuing each month thereafter at that rate or greater until the full amount is paid. That will be the order of the court. The court is placing her on supervised probation. The terms and conditions of probation are attached to the plea statement, and our court is signing them now, making it an order of the court that the defendant comply with the terms and conditions of probation. The court notes for the record that Ms. Drexler has signed an acknowledgement indicating she has read, understands, and will comply with the terms and conditions of her probation. That'll be the order of the court. I'm going to direct she'll meet with the probation officer at this time to be informed on getting set up on probation. You may be excused at this time.
Thank you, sir.
Court calls 2018-132, 2018-137, and 2016-288, the latter being a revocation case. State of Arkansas versus Eric Gines.
You know, I don't think that Mr. Gines was brought up. The court kept him so I could visit with him at the jail when he last appeared. I did, and there was no substantial progress made. Your Honor, it is my intention, if we have not done so already, to ask for an evaluation on both responsibility and fitness to proceed on Mr. Gines.
Okay. He's down for trial during the week of September 17th. This is his pretrial hearing date. That's on the one, let me just quickly check and make sure it's on. Oh, you've already filed a petition for evaluation. I need an order. I see there are petitions filed.
We will get you the order, Judge.
Make sure it's on all three cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is Mr. Gines not there at the jail?
He's a DOC, Your Honor.
He is at DNC? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. I thought we had him up here. Okay. Let's make it October 18th. Let's review Mr. Gines' three cases on October 18th. And if he's still in the DOC, and still hadn't been evaluated, then I don't need him brought up. We just, if he hadn't been evaluated, then we'll leave him there. So, all right. 2018-306, State of Arkansas versus Betsy Copeland.
Your Honor, Ms. Copeland was brought over. She is a drug court plea. Unfortunately, she has not been screened, so we cannot do her plea today. She'll have to be brought back on the 16th.
So she's already over here?
She is.
Okay. Well, let's have Ms. Copeland out, and I'll so we can get her at least taken care of this while she's here, and we'll set her for the next time the court's going to be here, which is August 16th. Ms. Copeland, the court's understanding is that you're under consideration for a plea to drug court, and the court's going to, because you haven't been screened yet, the court was just going to have you appear at this time, advise you that you'll be ordered to reappear on August 16th, and we need to advise, as long as you remain in jail, I'm going to ask the drug court staff to make arrangements to get over to the jail and screen. All right? All right.
Thank you, sir.
You may be excused.
Thank you.
2018-316, State of Arkansas versus Evan Bowers. This is a, has Mr. Bowers applied to the Public Defender's Office?
He apparently has not applied.
He, on July 26th, he advised Judge Putman that he was applying for the Public Defender's Office and entered a plea of not guilty. So he's been arraigned. His purpose in being before the court this morning is to get on a scheduling order. The court, this court's scheduling order, the court has entered that scheduling order, which sets Mr. Bowers for, first of all, to be here today. His next appearance after today is November 15th for a review hearing. February 21st is set as his pretrial date. March 21st is a plea deadline date, and March 25th will be his date to for trial would be during the week of March 25th. All right. Any other matters to come before the court? All right. Mr. Bowers, you may be excused.
All right.
2017-258, 2017-429, 2018-96, 2018-98. State of Arkansas versus Christian Sisk. Is
He was brought up from ADC last evening. I talked to him by video phone. We have a plea in principle worked out on him. It's a
Okay.
complicated plea that will be done later this morning or later today.
All right. We'll call 2017-354, 2017-385, State of Arkansas versus Penny Whitson.
Your Honor, Ms. Whitson was brought over. Plea offers have been made in both of her cases. I reviewed those with her at the jail yesterday. We've talked about her case on numerous occasions. Where we are today is that she has told me yesterday and again today that she is rejecting the plea offers made by the state. We're not asking for any other action. We know that she's on the trial docket for the week of August 20, and we'll be prepared to go to trial on both cases.
All right, I'm putting them down for trial the week of, that case down for the week of, both cases are down for the trial the week of August 20th. I'm going to set her for a final appearance on August 16th, purely for the purpose of raising any last-minute issues that we need to consider in the matter. So, all right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
You may be excused.
Your Honor, we did not show those as revocations. We showed that she was on parole. But if they are, they are.
We had, I mean, as Joe pointed out, these are on the docket as revocation cases.
What was confusing to me, Judge, is
She is up. Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
I'm looking at an order of continuance that says jury trial during the week of August 20.
Right. I see that in the one place, and then
17-354.
was prosecutor's office show?
You know, we're showing new cases, that's.
Those are new cases, okay.
We do, Your Honor. So she is on parole. And that, we're checking on that right now. But
Okay. I guess it got confusing when they were being put in context because of the bond revocation hearings that were scheduled in March and April and May, or at least discussed.
You know,
And one time we had those set for hearing on the bond revocation.
bond is not an issue at this point, Judge. On the parole violation, she is serving 3 months in our county jail on that parole violation. So she's there, and she'll certainly be there on the 16th when the court brings her back.
Well, I'm changing it then. From reviewing this, I made the mistake of thinking this was a revocation. That's what we had it listed as. But I see now from reviewing it that what undoubtedly happened and how it got listed as that is we had a revocation on the bond set at one time. So when that didn't go to hearing, the continuance was reflected in the context system here on the thing as the revocation hearing was moved to the new date, which was today. So what we need to do is reset it. They're set for trial on August 20th on the 2 charges during the week of August 20th. Mr. Cooper has made his announcement that they're not considering any plea offers at this time. So it's down for jury trial during the week of August 20th. I have ordered her to reappear on August 16th. That date will take up any last minute issues if there are any.
Thank
If
you.
not, we'll go to trial the week of August 20th.
thank you, Your Honor.
2018-210, State of Arkansas versus Brian Fanault. We have it down for a review hearing today. What's the status on this case?
Your Honor, I visited Mr. Von Alt with the video equipment that we now have. I believe we'll have a plea on him later today when you bring inmates over at whatever time, 1 o'clock. I believe we can do Brian later today.
Okay. Okay, next is 2017-446, State of Arkansas versus Robert Penny.
Your Honor, the defense has filed a motion to continue in Mr. Penny's case. We are still reviewing his case. I spoke with Mr. Penny last week. I advised him at that point that I felt like that the defense would have to file a motion to continue, and that is, I don't think the state is objecting to that, but that is based upon not only Mr. Penny's case, but some of the other cases that we've already dealt with this morning. But at any rate, Your Honor, we're asking that it be continued.
Let me look at where we are. Is there any objection from the state?
You know, based upon the seriousness of these charges and the amount of information Mr. Cooper's been given, I have no objection, Your Honor.
Is there an estimate on an estimation for the time of the trial of that matter at this point?
Your Honor, I think Mr. Etheridge is right. It's one of the more serious cases on this court's docket.
Of course.
I think it will be a 2 to 3 day trial. I do not foresee it being a week-long trial.
The state would agree, Your Honor. We anticipate it would take at least 2 days, just based upon the amount of evidence to be presented in this case.
The court is going to grant the defense motion for a continuance at this point. I'd like to grant it to a date certain. I happen to know that the next 2 trial periods are extremely full of cases. What do we have for trial period after in October? The week of August 20th, I think, is loaded, and I know the week of September 17th, I believe, is very loaded as well.
The week of October 22nd.
I'm going to put it down for trial during the week of October 22nd. If need be, we may have to look for a special setting just because of the number of days. But there aren't many holes in my schedule, at least until December. So
Yeah, no,
anyway,
this
I'm going to
case,
continue it to the week of October 22nd. I'm going to put it down for reschedule it for any pretrial motions for September 27th.
Plea deadline.
Yeah, the 18th can be shown as a plea deadline. Okay, October 18th. And that continues at defense request as an excluded period.
yeah, sure.
Mr. Penny, you may be excused, sir. 2017-452, State of Arkansas versus Dari Hart.
No, Mr. Hart was another case that I visited by video conference with him, and there was a huge gap in what he was willing to accept and what the state had offered, so he was not brought up from DOC today.
This is another one that's down on the 20th.
At this point, Judge, I'm not asking for any change. Obviously, I would like for him to be brought here on the 16th.
All right. We'll put him down to come to court on August 16th. So we'll need to transport him for that date and for the following week, the 20th. 2018-256, State of Arkansas versus Kevin Birch.
Your Honor, I got a continuance letter from my attorney last week. I believe we rescheduled it for September 13th or November 13th.
This case was originally set by scheduling order for this date. This is the first reappearance to establish the status of the case. September 13th is now listed as a review hearing, but that was a pretrial hearing date. So it's set for pretrial September 13th with a plea deadline of January 24th and a trial set during the week of January 28th. All right. You may be excused, sir.